everyone, this is Terry Mitchell from the Voice on Fire interview series. And for some time I've been looking forward to this interview with Robert Byarugaba. He's over in Uganda and we've had lots of challenges because of technology and because of time zone differences. Robert, it's a pleasure to welcome you to the interview series.
Yes, you are most welcome. I'm very glad to hear from you.
Excellent.
We have been in touch for a long time, but internet has been poor and the network. But today we are lucky that we can hear each other. And this morning it's a grateful day.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, the reason that I wanted to interview Robert, and it is part of what the Voice on Fire interview series is about, I'm always fascinated to share the messages of people that are making a difference in their communities and in ways that are making a difference to the world. Now, Robert's story is quite a fascinating one, and I wanted to share his story and the actions that he has taken because he's making a difference in his community in a way that really matters and in a way that so many of us around the world could learn from. So, Robert, what I like to do is to ask the people that I interview what it is they do to get their side of the story. So share with the listeners what it is that you do with regards to the project you have started regarding the poachers reform. Tell us about that.
For me, I have just I born near the boundary of the Bwindi National Park. My dad was famous because of both hunting and poaching, and we grew up when we were really poaching for the whole family, and all my neighbors were also involved in poaching. So my dad could force me when I was 10 years old to go with him do poaching and hunting, and we could go with pygmies, who are Batwa minority group, who were forest dwellers. We could go with them in the forest and sleep there for 5 nights hunting and gathering both meat and wild yams. So we could sleep under the rocks within the forest, and the meat the animal we could eat, we could kill in the forest was some antelopes with different types of antelopes. We have black-fronted duiker, we have yellow-backed duiker, and we have red duiker and bush pig as well, even the giant forest hog. So we could kill animals for food. And my dad was a polygamy, so he could seduce women within the village, giving them free meat and end up sleeping with them. And in the boundary of the park, we could work as prop guards because all the time we could get a challenge of animals that come out for crop raiding, like baboons, bush pigs, monkeys. So some of the children along the national park of Bwindi Impenetrable, they couldn't get a chance to go to school as well because of they could keep guarding crops from the animal coming to destroy them. So when the Bwindi Gazetted as national park, I later on joined birdwatching. I started learning birding, and I became a local guide. Then later, because I knew a lot of people who were doing illegal activities and poaching, later on I tried to gather them, to sensitize them to stop illegal poaching, because we ended up not benefiting from the forest. When the tourists started coming within Bwindi for border tracking, we could see the change. People could started earning some money. There's a revenue sharing which they could get from the people who are just coming to see the gorillas. and people could do the handcrafts and cultivation. So there was a big change. That's why I was getting involved. Since that is all the from poachers, because they were my friend. We used to meet them in the forest. So to stop ego tracking, so that we can get involved in other activities which can bring up livelihood standards.
Okay. So it sounds like what you were exposed to was something that's been part of perhaps the culture that your family knew, so that poaching was just seen as what you did to protect the crops and to have something to eat. So I can understand that must have been just what you knew as normal for the situation that you were in. When did you decide that you needed to stop the poaching? How did you decide that that was something that you felt strongly about and could make a difference there?
We started. I started that organization to stop poaching, because in poaching we could only get meat for food, and you can't pay school fees for your children when you are poaching. All the time you are in the forest, so you ended up your children not going to school because you are always engaged in the forest. So we started this project to stop poaching, because to be involved in other activities like agriculture. Now reformed poachers have started growing coffee. We have started. We have a project of beekeeping project. Beekeeping project. We harvest honey, and after harvesting honey, we sell it to the local market, so that all the farm poachers can get alternative. Now their children have to look for for their families. It's that when you have a plantation of coffee and a beekeeping project and a vegetable garden, if today you are going for the coffee garden, tomorrow you are going to visit your bee apiary, your bee hives, and next day you are going to look for your vegetables. Then you don't get time to think about the forest. Then you are busy. That's why I have started that from the poaching project, so that we protect our forest. And people who are from the poachers, because of there's no work, they have been cutting all the trees near the boundary of the park for charcoal burning. So also we sensitize them to plant more trees so that they don't go sneaking in the forest, because I've been cutting all the trees, and so we have started. We have the small garden, nursery beds for trees. People have already started planting trees so that they don't destroy our forests. Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of great work that you're doing. Obviously, bees are so important, and it's great that you've seen an opportunity to help people find new ways to take care of themselves, while also protecting something that has been part of your livelihood. So you found a way to get people to harvest bees and to look after bees with their apiaries, and also now coffee planting. That's a great thing to do, obviously, because it shows them that they have other ways that they can look after themselves and get their children. You mentioned having children not being at school. Is that something that's important to you?
Yes, something very important to me. And like yesterday, there was we met a lot of children from Pygmies clan, or Pygmies are minority group who have lived in the forest for a long time. We are called minority people. Yesterday, we met the young children. There's my friend who has started a program of feeding them. The young children of Batwa who are malnourished because of poor feeding.
Mm-hmm.
So he gave them different foods like fish, like nuts, like milk, different food, and different. Every day he gives a different food. So yesterday I got the chance. I was invited, and I went with 2 jugs of honey, because it was the main food for those people. and they have been missing honey for almost 20 years since the forest was gazetted as national park. So it was amazing yesterday when I came with 2 jugs of honey from my beehives from my project, be shared with those pygmies. And I wanted to send you some pictures for yesterday. It was really amazing for the pygmies test on the honey, which they have been missing for many years.
Yeah.
So it was really a great day yesterday.
Honestly, I can only imagine. I think that is a beautiful thing to want to share what you have been cultivating with a very special culture. Obviously, I'm in Australia, but I do know of very little knowledge, but I do know of the pygmy culture, and it's beautiful to know that you are taking time to try to help them, because the forest is all they know, and I do know that forests are being cut down far too much. So it's lovely also that you are encouraging people to plant trees, and you're really taking a lot of steps environmentally to help restore something that has been unfortunately being damaged out of necessity to a degree, because the people must have some food and they must have some way to look after themselves. You're showing them different ways to do that. What made you want to do that? What was your feeling about that? Did you see something that you knew you could do, or how did that come about? Because very few people will take that big an action step. You've taken that. So how did you know that you were the one to do that?
For me, I am a little bit expertise because living on the boundary of the park for many years, I've got very, very big challenges. And really, I just born in a very poor family. So I grew up when we were a little bit struggling. And I see people around my village, since when the park was created as National Park Bwindi, the chance was for the people around the boundary of the park to go and get a job from the national park. But bad enough, we didn't have people who were educated. So they ended up getting workers from far away from Bwindi, from big towns, because by that time there was not even a secondary school around in our village. So it was a big challenge. That's why now, because of through that experience, I really try to encourage the people of around the Bwindi National Park to work hard and access the education because of that challenge. It's now 20 years. 20 years ago, we have never even got someone who can work within the park as a warden. All the workers around the Bwindi Forest, they are still porters and some rangers. So we are encouraging people to go to school, to access school, so that they can compete with jobs around the Bwindi National Park. And because of why I work with pygmies and encourage them to grow trees and coffee, these pygmies minority group, we used to hunt with them, so they were my friend for a long time. And I see how they have been surviving, how they have been, their livelihood standards was really, really not good. And again, I've been working with my church for a long time. I'm saved as well. So I don't want to see some people suffering, if given opportunity to help them. That's why I work hard to mobilize them and see that they're in a good situation.
Wow, that is really, really encouraging and inspiring. And you mentioned that because there hasn't been a major secondary or major school in the area, so obviously it's been very difficult for people along the boundaries of the national park to be able to get to school in order to get that education that they need. That education then lets them get better jobs and better work chances. Is there something that you have done that's helped to improve that? How are people getting the education? What sort of steps are you taking to help with that?
For the education, we normally do sensitize the people, the parents, because in my village we have been a lot of school dropouts. In most cases in girls, because of early marriage, they quit school. So we have been encouraging the parents to put much effort in paying school fees for their children for the better future. So it's like the big challenge around this pandemic time. A lot of girls who are not schooling, they got pregnant in our village. Most of 60% of the girls they got pregnant. So there's also a very big challenge. But sensitization has been going on, meeting the parents and mobilizing them. Please encourage your children to be patient, and so that you can encourage them to go back to school. Now they have already, some of them they have already gone back to school. I was going to study, but also it has been a big challenge. But now at least we are trying hard to make sure that the children here they get the access to education as well.
Yeah. So part of your conversation, it seems like, is with the parents to help them to understand the importance of that education, because maybe education was not something that they had themselves had access to. So perhaps now you're seeing the difference with the children are making different decisions now because they're getting access to the education, and education is letting them see that they can do things differently and make better changes. Is that something that you witness?
Yes, now the good thing now around our area now, it's now 7 years now. We are very lucky that we go to a secondary school near the boundary of the park. It's called the Bohoma Community High School. It's now really, we are very, very happy and we're proud of that. It's a community school. It has been supported by a community. We have a community community camp, called the community campground. That community has got some lodges. We have 2 lodges, community rest camp and Haven Lodge. The all proceeds we get that lodge, it goes back to pay facilitate the community projects like schools. We have a circle, gravity water scheme, and some other projects. So we're proud that now we have a secondary school, and this kind of school is just neighboring to my home. I always walk there and I talk to the head teacher and some teachers to encourage them, and I talk to the students as well. Now we are lucky that the children have started accessing the school now.
Excellent. Well, you've made a lot of major changes. You've been responsible for ensuring a lot of things are happening, even getting kids into school and making sure there's a community school nearby for the children to go to. What other big projects? You've got so many things you've done. Do you see other big projects that you would like to do or that you are already starting? What's happening there?
Majorly for me, okay, I've talked about the school, and but majorly in my project, in our project, for us, our major activities in our project is tree plantations, beekeeping projects. We have sanitation and hygiene. We collect some garbages and we gather them in one place, and recycling as well, and we do mushroom growing project.
Oh, okay.
Mushroom growing project.
Okay, so you've got
mostly for the ladies.
Yeah, that's excellent. So recycling as well, and including the mushroom growing. So a lot of this is to do not just with agriculture and horticulture, but you are helping people to become perhaps a bit more self-sufficient within their village or within their community. Would that be correct?
Yes. To be helping people to get self-help with self-help projects, so that they can earn a living. Yeah. Because people near the boundary, as I told you later, they have been suffering because their children have not, they have not getting a chance to go to school. They have been forced to go to guard crops, for guarding crops. So it's like me. When I was young, I used to go to school twice a week. Other days I could be forced to go to guard crops from the animals to come out for crop riding. So there was been a big challenge for the people who neighboring the national park. Yeah, the challenge is still there, but now because of we are sensitizing and encouraging people, and now the children have started educating. It's not like for the first time now. Not for the first time. People have started education.
Okay. Yeah. So when you were younger, as you were saying, you could only access school a couple of days a week because it was important that the whole family, including the children, were involved in protecting the foods that you were growing, because obviously animals were hungry and they were coming in and eating, and that seemed to create that need to do the poaching to protect your own food supply. You've been working hard to encourage different ways to support the communities with different growing products and also the recycling. There's such a lot that you're doing. Have you had any support from perhaps any of the government agencies or your churches? Who has been supporting and helping you to achieve this?
Our government, I have already registered this project of reformed poaching at the national level. I have a certificate as well. But our government, I'm very sorry to say that our government is a bit corrupt. Sometimes you do the project in the back of the government, exercising people, but our government there's no big support from the government. Yeah, they are aware. Sometimes you invite government officials to come and attend the meetings. They really appreciate, but they don't support financial. They don't do support.
Okay. So they are aware that you are taking these actions, but for various reasons, the officials that do become aware of what you're doing are not encouraging financial support for that. So how are you managing? What do you do to be sure that you can financially support all of the projects?
The project of recycling, the members of the project, they just come, we make the rota, and we decide the days that they can come and put all the garbages. They put the effort, they put the labor for themselves. And for the beehives, the members of the project has been paying the membership, which is a small money. So that membership, we could buy the timbers to make the wooden beehives. That's why we have a program or a plan of extending to make our apiary a bit bigger. So far we have 75 beehives, but we need more. We want like 200, so that we have the big apiary for the whole group. But we wanted also the members to have like some other beehives near their homes.
Yes.
So that we can increase in the production of the honey when we are harvesting. As well as when we are constructing something or when we're in our project, we just honestly we call the members to come and put the labor for themselves. They just work for themselves, not using money. At the moment, we haven't got the money funds. The little money we have been using is making website, designing website, registering at the district level, and as well as making constitutions. I've been putting money as a coordinator. Actually, when I have given them my land. I have a land which is like 1 acre of land with a natural forest, with a beautiful forest. I gave them out. That's where we have our bees hives, and that land is I gave it free for the project.
Okay.
So that's where we make the nursery beds for the natural trees as well, to give out the members go and plant the trees. That's where, yeah.
So you also learned through your education to be was that a bird watcher and ranger for the forest? Was that also true for you?
I beg your pardon?
Your education, your education that you learned to be a bird watcher and ranger, is that correct?
Yeah, is that correct? Yeah, is correct because we did a lots of trainings, and we get high people from big companies to come make a evaluation to us, and we got some hectic and serious examinations. So it's really recognized. It's okay with the people I'm working with.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So you've done a lot of work, Robert. That's a lot of things that you have achieved. Is there any, you mentioned, for example, that you're also building the website or getting a website together. That's going to be important because, for example, with an interview like this, there's an opportunity to then share that website address for people to be able to come from anywhere around the world and have a look at what you're doing. If you were to receive some sort of support, what's the most important help that you would really value that would help you to continue with what you are doing?
Yeah, if I can really, we are trying to make that website to help us to market our project, and many people could read the website and have a contact with us. And if we really be lucky and our project get funded, we are planning to do the project which can be sustainable, which can make our project sustainable, not all the time keep relying on the funding, because funding as well is not reliable. We want to make our self-help project which can be for a long time, which can be made for a long time. It's like we are planning to have write a proposal. If we can get some good Samaritan who can buy the proposal and sell for us, we have a plan of making building a guest house in that land. Because Bwindi is a tourist area, if we can do good marketing, because I have experience, I did customer handling and customer care. If I can get with other friends within the same project, if we can get funding, we can put up a guest house so that we can get money to keep sustaining and supporting our projects.
Yeah, a guest house sounds really, really exciting. I guess the one challenge you would have there, as the world is experiencing, is the COVID challenge, where we're obviously experiencing countries that are not allowed to travel, and we can't go to places until we are sure that COVID is no longer the pandemic threat. That, I can imagine, must be affecting those sorts of plans that you have for tourists other than your local area. So if you were to build a guest house, how do you see that being something that tourists can use? What do you want for that guest house to be? Is it a place where people can stay, or is it so that they can experience being part of the community? What are your plans there?
I know pandemic has been affecting all the nation, actually worldwide. But when it happens and we find that we have a guest house, even if the tourists will be few, but still local people, you can market, you can target both tourists and local people. Local people can still come in and get the service and pay some money, which can really sustain the project.
And the experience that the guests would have, do you show them the agricultural and horticultural experiences that you have shown them? What kind of experiences would the tourists get to have if they were staying there?
When the kind of experience the tourists can get around the guest house, there would be the local homestead, the local typical homestead. It's like which will be made culturally, so the tourists can get experience how the local people used to live and how the local homes looks like. And they can get the experience of the honey, because when we're there, you have a chance to get to see the beehives, and when the bees are just coming in and going out. And around the upper area, in the same area, we have a tree house. I have a tree house which accommodates 11 people. Tourists can come up there and have a coffee, because we have started growing coffee. Can go in the tree house and have a cup of coffee within the tree house while viewing the bees. So it will be really amazing. One of the things which can make the people or tourists appreciate and experience different kinds of
Yeah, that's lovely. It sounds really interesting, and I know something that I would like to be able to do one day. It would be fascinating to see how you have transformed a community by showing people that there are different ways to do things. Now, it's been how long that you have been doing all of this?
Yeah, I have been doing all of this. It's like mushroom growing. It's now 7 years doing mushroom growing.
Wow.
I went for a training a little bit far away from my community. I went with my wife as well. We were in training for 1 week. When we came, we started teaching other women around in our village how they are to get experience of growing mushroom as well. The tourists have been coming to Bwindi. We have been able to sell the mushrooms within the local hotels. So tourists have been getting a fresh mushroom soup. And it was really, really amazing that some of them, they would come and visit our place to see the mushroom. So that's the experience. Really, we have been sharing with other people within our community.
Yeah. Wow, you've been doing such a lot. What was the inspiration toward this to this way of doing things? Obviously, there's been the need to change what wasn't doing good, but it seems you've gone from making this change to now doing much, much more exciting and valuable things. What was all of the direction? Why did you go that pathway?
I have been, because I have been sharing with some different people within around Bwindi. Some people, they are from different areas, so we've been sharing that experience, and it's quick looking for the alternative which can change. It's like in this COVID, there was no tourists, and tourists have been it has been they have been bringing income around in our community. So people have been stuck. I have been growing tomatoes within my garden around my home. So I have been encouraging reformed poachers to grow quick growing vegetables, so that because I've been having no money, We have been growing eggplant, tomatoes, onions, and as well vegetables. Vegetables, they are good to fight for the COVID-19. You become strong and it boosts immunity. So we have been teaching people, and really we have been doing a great job.
Mm. Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's very encouraging that you've basically seen a problem and come up with the solutions and kept trialing different things and looking for different ways and always overcoming the challenge, which most people would not do that. So I think what you're doing is very important as a message to everybody, that even in the face of very difficult circumstances, you have to be willing to see something as a different challenge and find a way to get through that, and never let the challenge to win, because it's important. You've got so many people that see you as the difference maker. You're the person that comes along and can find the solution, and your voice is important to them. So I think what you do is very, very important. Well done to you. I'm impressed, which is why I wanted to have our conversation today. It's very important that the listeners who will listen to this and watch this interview later have a way to be in contact with you. So obviously we'll make your website and any contact information available so people can reach out to you if need be. Now, in terms of, say, the big picture, so more than just today, more than just next year, what is the big goal that you see maybe 5 years from now or 10 years from now? What do you see yourself doing?
If I get the funding for our project, as I said, we have a plan of making self-help projects which can be sustainable. Like the reformed poachers, they used to eat meat almost every day. We have a plan of buying them goats and pigs. If we can get the pigs, we can keep them and make like a revolving. If you give a member of the reformed poacher a pig, after the pig producing, can keep rotating, giving other members the piglets, so that they can all get all get the pig, and and goats as well. If you have the goats, you can use that manure to grow vegetables as well. So we want to have a plan of making a self-help project which can be sustainable, which can be for a long time, like growing coffee, like rearing pigs, training them how to keep the bees, because the bees, they just look for food for themselves. Just a matter of killing their apiary, and you put them in a good place. Yeah. So those are the projects which can really make the reformed poachers happy and not thinking going back to destroy the forest and killing our animals, because we are earning from these mountain gorillas. And unfortunately, last 2 years, there was a very big gorilla called the Rafiki, which was killed by poachers. In this COVID, when the COVID, it was 4 months when the COVID was started, poachers went in the national park and they were carrying meat. They came across to the family of the gorillas, and the big gorillas was called Rafiki, which was leading the family. So they ended up sparing it, and it was killed. So it was really something frustrating. It was something which was very, very bad to us. And we started as a one voice and start sensitizing. We have been sensitizing, but there we added much effort to really teach people. Really, they did something ashamed. All the country were not good because of that poacher. Because some of the reformed poachers, they have that habit, like they have addiction. They think their forest is theirs. So, but a big number, like 90%, were sensitized and doing that, but few of them are still sneaking. So we need to continue carrying that information and sensitization so that we can finish that process of going to the
Yeah, and you mentioned
forest.
yeah,
But
you
it's
mentioned
not
a good
easy, as you know, the people with different factors.
You mentioned a good point there, Robert, that people will still maybe be doing things that are maybe not right in terms of the damage that could be done. But I had a question. I was thinking, what differences have you seen in the forest because of the changed behavior in the people? Are there more animals that are now nurtured and growing in the forest? Is the forest also starting to reclaim sort of more growth? What good things are you seeing?
The good thing now, you see like the number of mountain gorillas is now increasing.
Oh,
It's
good.
increasing in big number.
Yep.
And some time back, the tigers and bush pigs and the giant forest hawk, they were almost getting finished from the forest. You could walk for some good kilometers, like 20 kilometers within the forest, without seeing an antelope. But now the antelopes are coming. You see many big numbers, even coming across to our boundaries, because people they know the use of the forest. People are no longer tampering with them. So even if the tourist comes for mountain gorillas for bird tracking, he or she gets a chance to see some other antelopes, different monkeys, and so there's high chance to see other.
Hey everybody, we had just a slight technical glitch just then and I lost Robert, but we're back again. And Robert, we were talking about the difference that you've seen in the forest because there's not so much poaching going on and you're seeing so much more activity. So continue sharing that story, the things that you have seen as a result of all the good work that you've done.
Yeah, there's no, as I said, some illegal activities within the forest have already as reduced. But as you know, people with different characters, some of maybe few of them, because hunting and poaching is a hobby. Sometimes people enjoy. It's like me. I could enjoy hunting and poaching as well. So sometimes it's a hobby for different people, but a big number have stopped completely poaching, and we have started a saving process where the members meet every week. Uh, they pay a small money for saving. There we got a chance of the people, of the members of the reformed poachers, tell us the situation that have been seeing along the boundary. If someone has tried to sneak, as they bring us information, so we keep updated. We keep updated. That's one way of finishing poaching within our park. If we take time, if it take us time without meeting, we wouldn't get information. But some people, if someone gets, if we feel that we want to meet, even if he's a member of the Reformed Poachers, but sometimes he's forced because he's poor, doesn't have money to buy the meat from the butcher from the town. He says, yeah, today let me go and. But if we are meeting normally, we get that information and we visit that people and we tell them, please There's one time we were going in the forest. What were we going to do there? So it started narrating and repenting. So that's why we're trying to make the poaching finished within Bwindi National Park. And our main vision was to help unprivileged community members and privileged community members around Bwindi Impenetrable National Park with self-help projects in order to transform livelihood standards, and for both socially and economically. Our organizations within the Mukono parish and for the people neighboring around the Bwindi.
Yeah, and it's important, as you say, for people to recognize that change takes place slowly and people need to find new ways to adapt. As you say, some things have been done because the hobby has been an enjoyable one, but then they need to realize sometimes a hobby has bad repercussions, that it can do damage, and sometimes we need to step back and learn different ways to find better ways for the long term, for the children who will grow up to adults and then have to find new ways. So it's good that you're able to constantly monitor the situation and help bringing people together. So we've had just a couple of extra glitches there. So we've had a little bit of internet dropping out with our interview here with Robert today. But Robert, we were just talking about the differences that you have been making and some of the changes that you have seen and how you are making a difference through changing the mindset about poaching and how it was a habit and a hobby that people had. You're doing great things to make those changes. So is there any last message that you would like our audience to know about the future and what you're doing?
Yeah. Changing the people's culture, some of the reformed poachers, it's like it has been like the culture, it is within their blood. So they took that habit. As I said, it has been a hobby for different people, hunting, and it's an enjoyable activity. It's like when you are using when you are hunting using dogs, each dog has got the collar. And if you have like 5 dogs chasing an antelope, each dog has a different color. And then when those colors, it's like a bear. When they mix, they just make like a song. And even if you are hunting, but even that song is very, very interesting. Hearing the song from the color that the dogs has, it makes it really, really enjoying. But comparing to the now the income where the people are getting from the protected area, that's why we are working hard, even sensitizing through the churches and visiting the schools, because we want the young children who are studying from the school also to grow up when they know that conservation is very, very important for the younger generation. And for the future generation. That's why we are putting much effort on the everyday program of sensitizing about the protected area in our community.
Yeah, it's a very important message. The whole story about conservation, because there are future generations, they need something, and you're doing the work now to protect the future generations and their livelihoods. So everything that you are doing, from the education for the children at school through to changing the mindset and the behaviour of people that were used to poaching because that was what they were used to. You've been doing a lot of work. I think the world needs more people like you, Robert. I think we all need to make more of an effort. Every one of us can make a difference. And I think you are showing that it doesn't matter what part of the world you live in, no matter how many challenges there are, one person can always make that difference. And I think you are that person, and I applaud you for what you do. I just want to say thank you for your time today and for all the effort that you've put in to being available. I know we've had some challenges with the internet, but it's been a very good conversation. I want to thank you for your time, and I will share this message through my audience who watches the YouTube interview or who listens to the podcast. Thank you, Robert. It has been a pleasure talking with you all the way from Uganda.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm glad meeting you. I'm glad meeting you. It was very much inquisitive. You know, it has been postponing and because of the poor network, but it was a little bit successful. It was grateful meeting you and sharing these experiences. I hope everything will be well.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you, Robert.
You're most welcome.